Hello friends, welcome to Kalyani IS Academy. We are studying issues and initiatives in the field of agriculture. In the previous lecture, I have taught you issues and initiatives regarding irrigation, pesticides and weedicides, fertilizers and agricultural marketing. And in this lecture, we will study issues and initiatives regarding agricultural marketing and agricultural credit or agricultural loan. So let's start the topic with agricultural marketing. See, agricultural marketing covers services, agencies and activities involved in moving the agricultural produce from field to the consumer. It means that agricultural marketing includes harvesting, packaging, grading, collection, storage, processing, transportation, classification and distribution of agricultural produce. See, after harvesting the crops, a farmer have many challenges. For an example, that a farmer does not know on which price should he sell his agricultural produce. Means on what price should the agricultural produce be sold in the market. Second challenge is that where should the agricultural produce be sold. And third thing is that if a farmer does not want to sell his agricultural produce right now, then does he have storage facilities, right? And fourth thing is that does a farmer have transportation facilities to take his agricultural produce from local area to the larger market, right? And also does a farmer have enough information regarding the marketing, right? Therefore in India the cooperative marketing is being promoted. In cooperative marketing, what happens? See, in cooperative marketing, cooperative societies purchase agricultural produce at local area. They pool the agricultural produce and trade in larger market or in mandis, so that the members of agricultural cooperating committees could get fair and remunerative prices. Also, Government of India has taken many initiatives to solve these problems. The first thing is that the price of agricultural products was ensured by the MSP, minimum support price. Second, the food security was emphasized through public distribution system. Also, the safe storage of wheat and rice under the FCI, right? Also, to protect the interest of farmers and to ensure the fair prices of agricultural produce, government has taken many steps in which many agricultural marketing committees, FCI, CACP and commodity market is playing an important role. So in the examination, 5 marker or 11 marker question can be asked regarding a particular topic. For an example, the question can be asked on agricultural marketing agricultural organizations, and the question can be asked on Food Corporation of India. So now we will study one by one. The first major institution of cooperative marketing is National Cooperative Development Corporation, NCDC. See, the main objective of NCDC or National Cooperative Development Corporation is to promote cooperative agricultural marketing schemes. And the second important work of NCDC is to notify various committees for carrying out the works related to production, right, storage, processing and marketing, right. Next agency is NAFED. Here NAFED means National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, and NAFED was established in 1958 at the national level for the marketing work of agricultural produce in cooperative sector. So we can say that NAFED is a national body in cooperative sector, right. And now I would like to tell you the distinction between NAFED and TRIFED. Here, if we talk about agricultural produce, then the national level body to have cooperating marketing is NAFED if we talk about the agricultural produces. But if we talk about the marketing of trees and forest produce, then the national body is TRIFED, and we will study the TRIFED in next topic. So you need to distinguish here that the NAFED is the national level body to manage the agricultural marketing in cooperative sector of agricultural produces, right. So the main objective of the NAFED is to do marketing, process and store of agricultural, horticultural and forest produce. Also with this, the NAFED provides agricultural machines to the farmers so that they could increase the production in agriculture. Also the NAFED provides to the farmer fertilizers, seeds, right, pesticides and weedicides. Also, and the fifth, this is the third, fourth and the fifth. Also the NAFED promotes the agricultural marketing in interstate or intra-state, right, interstate and intra-state. So these are the main objectives of the NAFED, right. Now we will study about the TRIFED. Here TRIFED means Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India Limited. As earlier I told you that TRIFED was established to protect the exploitation of the tribals, or we can say that forest dwellers, right. What happens, see, जो फॉरेस्ट ड्वेलर्स होते हैं वो एक तरीके से फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस को इकट्ठा करते हैं। कई जड़ी बूटियां होती हैं, कई हर्ब्स होती हैं और कई प्रोड्यूस को वो इकट्ठा करते हैं। अब उनको भी नहीं पता होता है कि जो फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस होती है उसको किस दाम पर, ऑन व्हाट प्राइस उसको बेचना चाहिए, कहाँ पर उसको बेचना चाहिए। तो यहाँ पर जो ट्राइबल्स हैं या फिर जो फॉरेस्ट ड्वेलर्स हैं उनको एक तरीके से फेयर प्राइस दिलाने के लिए और उनके जो जितने भी जो है फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस है उनकी फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस को एक अच्छा प्राइस दिलाने के लिए और उनका जो शोषण है उसको बचाने के लिए ट्राइफेड की स्थापना की गई थी। और कब की गई थी? 1987। सो ट्राइफेड वाज एस्टेब्लिश्ड इन 1987, राइट। एंड वी कैन से दैट here the TRIFED is the apex body at the national level, or we can say that TRIFED is the premier agency for collection, storage, processing and development of trees and forest produces, right? And the third objective of the TRIFED is that TRIFED acts as an agent of Food Corporation of India for government procurement of wheat and paddy, right? Also TRIFED TriFed get the grants by the Ministry of Agricultural to meet the accidental losses of due to price fluctuation, right? So these were the objectives of the TriFed. Now here are also we will study the marketing committees. Here the first is that the State Cooperative Marketing Society. So the State Cooperative Marketing Society work at the state level. Second, the Central Marketing Committee, right? The Central Marketing Committee works at district level. You need to understand here this word, right? Central Marketing Committee, but it works on district level, right? And third is Primary Marketing Societies. These societies, these committees works at mandis, or we can say that wholesale collection center, right? So these were the agricultural marketing committees. Firstly, we studied NCDC, then NAFED, then TriFed, then state cooperative societies, then central marketing committees, and primary marketing societies. Now we will study Food Corporation of India Limited. See, why was Food Corporation of India Limited was established, right? See, the FCI was established to meet the natural calamities, right? क्या होता है जब नेचुरल कैलामिटीज या नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स आते हैं तो उससे कभी कभी एकदम से जो फूड ग्रेन्स होते हैं उनकी शॉर्टेजेस हो जाती है, और इसीलिए हमारे देश में एक ऐसी संस्था होनी चाहिए जो फूड ग्रेन्स को स्टोर करे, एक बफर स्टॉक को जो है वो मेंटेन करे, ताकि कभी ड्रॉट की स्थिति में या नेचुरल डिजास्टर की स्थिति में या नेचुरल कैलामिटीज की स्थिति में हमें फूड शॉर्टेजेस का सामना ना करना पड़े. देयरफॉर इन 1957 Ashok Mehta Samiti recommended to set up a food stabilization organization with a capital of 100 crore rupees, right? Later on the suggestions of the Ashok Mehta committees, here FCI was established in January 1965, right? And its headquarters is in New Delhi. What are the objectives of FCI? The first and most is the effective price support to safeguard the interests of the farmer. Here FCI procures rice and wheat on MSP. So here FCI is the only, or we can say that FCI is the sole agency in India which procures rice and wheat on MSP, and this completes, or we can say that through this the effective price support policy is executed by the FCI. So the first objective of the FCI is that effective price support to safeguard the interest of the farmer. Second is that distribution of food grains, right, and maintaining satisfactory level of the buffer stock to ensure national food security, right? So here what happens, I will tell you the whole procedure. Here FCI, what does it, right? It procures wheat and rice on MSP, right? So this is the first task. Second thing is that it maintains, controls the buffer stock to meet the unforeseen conditions, right? So the second most important work is to maintain and control the buffer stock. And third is that distribution of food grains through the public distribution system, right? And the fourth, or we can say that most important thing is that it also controls the fluctuation in the price of food grains. So we can say that it controls the fluctuation in the, it controls the fluctuation in the price of food grains in the market. And FCI is the sole agency in India which procures food grains on MSP, maintains a buffer stock, distribute food grains through PDS, and controls the price fluctuation position, right? Now we will study CACP, and you need to understand why was CACP established. See, a farmer pays money to purchase the inputs. For an example, that he purchases seeds, fertilizers, pesticides from market. And second thing is that farmer also works in his fields, and third, his family member also works in the field, and also he works in field as and when required. For an example, that if an engineer is working, then definitely he will work 8 hours daily, and for that he will get a salary, regular salary. But here in agriculture, the number of hours are not defined. It is clear, it may be a farmer may work more than 10 hours, 20 hours, or it may be a farmer may work 4 hours or 5 hours. So after harvesting, it is not clear what should be the production cost, and a farmer on what price a farmer should sell his agricultural produce. Therefore in 1965 Agricultural Price Commission, see, Agricultural Price Commission was established in 1965 by Food Price Policy Committee to determine the price of agricultural products, and in 1985 it was renamed as Commission for Agricultural Cost and Price, CACP. What is the main function and object of CACP? Is to calculate MSP, minimum support price, right? Now in the earlier we talked, in the FCI topic we talked about MSP. Here is the term MSP. So you don't worry, MSP is in current affairs, so I will take a particular lecture on MSP, and in a particular lecture, or we can say that in our 11th lecture, we will talk about what is MSP, how it is determined, what are the importance of MSP system. So you need to know here that the MSP is calculated. See, the MSP and purchase price is calculated by CACP based on 3 methods. Like first is A2 method, right? CACP calculate MSP using A2 method, and in A2 method the inputs, right, the physical inputs are included in दिस मेथड. मतलब जो A2 मेथड है, इसमें जो बीज खरीदने में, फर्टिलाइजर खरीदने में, फिर जो मशीनाइजेशन, जो मैकेनाइजेशन हुआ है, उस सब की जो प्रत्यक्ष जो लागत होती है वो इसमें सम्मिलित की जाती है. सेकेंड थिंग, CACP आल्सो कैलकुलेट MSP ऑन A2 प्लस का FL. जो A2 प्लस का FL होता है, इसमें CACP MSP कैलकुलेट करते समय FL मतलब फैमिली लेबर को भी इंक्लूड करता है. अर्थात खेत में किसान के साथ में उसके जो जितने भी उसके मेंबर्स हैं, फैमिली मेंबर्स हैं, जिन्होंने भी जितना काम किया है, उसको भी इसमें सम्मिलित किया जाता है, राइट. और आपको पता है कि यहाँ पर जो स्वामीनाथन समिति थी, उसने कहा था कि जो MSP है उसको C2 पर भी क्या करना चाहिए, कैलकुलेट होना चाहिए. तो जो C2 मेथड होती है, C2 मेथड, यहाँ पर जो CACP है वो C2 मेथड के माध्यम से भी MSP को कैलकुलेट करता है, और इसमें A2 प्लस का FL के साथ में जो भी किसान का खेत है उसके लिए यहाँ पर रेंट को, तथा इसके साथ ही जो भी उसने क्या किया है, एक तरीके से अपने खेत में जो भी कैपिटल का इन्वेस्ट किया है, अगर वो खेत जैसे आप समझिए, अगर वो उस धन को, उस कैपिटल को अगर वो लोन पे दे देता तो उसको क्या मिलता है, यहाँ पर एक तरीके से ब्याज मिलता, इंटरेस्ट मिलता। तो ये जो C2 मेथड है इसमें भूमि का रेंट और कैपिटल का इंटरेस्ट भी इंक्लूड किया जाता है, राइट। तो यहां पर कुल मिलाकर जो CACP है, CACP जो है विभिन्न आधारों पर यहां पर A2 मेथड, A2 प्लस FL मेथड और C2 मेथड के माध्यम से MSP को कैलकुलेट करता है। Also here CACP recommends the MSP and purchase price for the government। आपको यहां पर एक और महत्वपूर्ण पॉइंट याद रखना है कि द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट बाउंड टू एक्सेप्ट द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ CACP। इट मीन्स दैट CACP is only an advisory body. Here the recommendation of CACP may be accepted or may be rejected by the government of India, right? Now we will study fourth institution, that is commodity market. See, what is commodity market? As you know that in share market the shares of particular company are traded, and in commodity market the commodities of primary sector the commodities of primary sector are traded, right, regularly traded. Here you need to also remember that in commodity market manufactured items are not traded. So in simple words we can say that commodity market is a market where manufactured items are not traded, whereas primary sector products, or we can say that raw material, is traded in commodity market. And commodity market is regulated by Forward Market Commission, which was brought under the administrative control by the Finance Ministry in the year 2013, and its headquarter is in मुंबई। अब यहाँ पर जो कमोडिटी मार्केट है उसके ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है या उसके फंक्शंस क्या है, तो यहाँ पर जो कमोडिटी मार्केट का जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण फंक्शन है वो है कि यहाँ पर टू इम्प्रूव द एफिशिएंसी ऑफ डोमेस्टिक मार्केट। यहाँ पर एक तरीके से जो कमोडिटी मार्केट प्रोवाइड्स अ प्लेटफॉर्म टू ट्रेड द primary sector commodities. That's why it improves the efficiency of domestic market. Second thing is that commodity market also acts as an messenger to the future price estimates, and it helps the government to take timely action if and when required, right? Third function is that it provides protection against the price risk of commodities, giving in the view of future prices. So these were the three main objectives of the commodity market. For your information, at present out of 113 commodities, only 43 commodities are traded in commodity markets. Now we will study issues and initiatives regarding agricultural credit. See, why is agricultural credit is important? For that we need to observe some facts. The first fact is that there are many small and marginal farmers in इंडिया, और ये जितना भी प्रोड्यूस करते हैं उस प्रोड्यूस से ये केवल और केवल जीवन निर्वाह ही करते हैं। इसके अर्थात इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जो स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनल फार्मर्स होते हैं उनके पास में हमेशा सेविंग की क्या होती है, कमी होती है। और सीधी सी बात है, जब इनके पास में व्हेन दे डू नॉट हैव सेविंग्स दे वोंट बी एबल टू इन्वेस्ट इन नेक्स्ट क्रॉपिंग season, and in next cropping season to purchase seed, fertilizer and other inputs, they require loan. And to meet these challenges, the farmer, small and marginal farmers, take loan from informal sectors like intermediaries, jamidars, and we can say that the chaudharis of the local area, right? And there are two disadvantages of taking loan from the informal sector. The first and most important is that they get the loan at higher rate, means the rate is very high. Within few times they have to return much money. And second thing is that whenever they are unable to pay the loan, they have to sell their produce at a low price. It means that when there is no credit facility, because of this they pay higher amount of money as a loan, and second, they have to sell their produce at a low prices, right? And this is a fact, right? In 1915 and 16, government of India surveyed, and government of India got the information that there is a low level of investment in India. There is a low level of investment in agricultural sector because of the dependence on loan given by the money lenders, because they give the loan at higher rate and at low prices, right? Therefore this is the biggest challenges, because if small and marginal farmer did not take loan from the money lenders, then definitely they won't be able to invest in agriculture, and when they do not invest in agriculture, the production rate will come down. Therefore they have to take loan at higher rate. And to solve this problem, government of India has taken many initiatives, and we will talk one by one. The first and most important is that the government of India has made it mandatory for commercial banks and private banks to provide 40% loan of their total credit for priority sector, or we can say that primary sector. See, यहाँ पर मैं आपको एक बेसिक जानकारी दूं कि जैसे किसी भी इफ कमर्शियल बैंक हैज 100 करोड़ रुपीस, राइट, अगर यहाँ पर जो बैंक है वो सारा का सारा जो 100 करोड़ है, इफ द बैंक गिव्स लोन्स टू द ट्रेडर्स, और वी कैन से दैट बिग टेक कंपनीज, तो यहाँ पर जो छोटे किसान हैं उनको यहाँ पर लोन ही नहीं मिलेगा। तो जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां होती हैं वो अपने प्रॉफिट के चलते हुए यहाँ पर किसानों को लोन नहीं देती थी, इसलिए गवर्नमेंट ने ये मैंडेटरी किया कि यहाँ पर सभी बैंकों को अपनी जो टोटल क्रेडिट है उसका 40% जो है वो प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग, मतलब प्रायोरिटी जो सेक्टर जो भी गवर्नमेंट निर्धारित करेगी उन प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर में सभी बैंकों को यहाँ पर अपनी कुल पूंजी का जो है 40% लोन में देना होगा। इसके साथ ही तो एक तो यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, गवर्नमेंट मेड इट मैंडेटरी टू प्रोवाइड government made it mandatory for private and public banks to provide loan for priority sector. It means that 40% loan will be provided to priority sector. And second was it has decided that out of the 40% 18% which is highest, and 80% loans would be provided for agricultural and food processing industries. It means that any public bank or commercial bank or private bank, it has to give its 80% loan to agriculture, in the field of agriculture and food processing. So now the farmers, the small and marginal farmers can get easily loans. And the third and most important is that the government of India has also fixed the maximum limit, which is 11%. The agricultural loans can be provided at 11% only. It means that any private and public bank cannot keep the interest rate higher than 11%, right? Also, so these were the main three states. इसके अलावा भी यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट ने कई इंस्टीट्यूशन की यहाँ पर स्थापना की है जो कि एग्रीकल्चर क्षेत्र में लोन को उपलब्ध कराएंगे और जो एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट है उसको इंप्रूव करेंगे. वी विल स्टडी हियर वन बाय वन. तो जो जितनी भी पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक्स होती हैं वो एग्रीकल्चर क्षेत्र में 3 प्रकार के लोन उपलब्ध कराती हैं. द फर्स्ट इज शॉर्ट टर्म लोन, राइट. Under the short term loan, loans are provided for the duration of less than 15 months. So in short term loans are provided for 15 months, right? And the loan is provided for mainly to purchase seeds here, to purchase seeds, fertilizers and family needs, right? Second are medium term loans. So the medium term loans are provided for 15 months to 5 years, and the medium term loan are provided for land improvement, or we can say that agricultural, to purchase the agricultural equipment and purchase of cattle, right? And third is long term loans, right? The long term loans are provided for more than 5 years, and these loans are provided for the permanent improvement on लैंड. फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल दैट यदि जैसे जो फील्ड है वो इस तरीके से पहाड़ी है तो वहां पर लैंड लेवलर की मदद से इस पहाड़ी को काट कर इसको समतल किया जा सकता है. तो यहाँ पर जो परमानेंट इंप्रूवमेंट है लैंड की उसके लिए लोन दिए जाते हैं. दूसरा हो सकता है यहाँ पर परचेज ऑफ लैंड, राइट. तो लॉन्ग टर्म लोन आर प्रोवाइडेड फॉर परचेज ऑफ लॉन, परचेज ऑफ एक्सपेंसिव एग्रीकल्चरल मशीनरी लाइक ट्रैक्टर, थ्रेसर, हार्वेस्टर, etc. Right? Now we will study the sources of agricultural credit. Here there are two type of sources. First we can say that non-institutional sources, and second is institutional sources. See, non-institutional sources are money lenders, right? Money lenders, traders and landlords of the local area, right? And the first and most important is that their interest rate is very high, right? So the non-institutional lenders are here money lenders, traders and landowners, etc. And they provide the loan at very high rate. Also they come under, we can say that, unorganized sector, or we can say that informal sector. Second thing is that institutional sources, and institutional sources are cooperative institutions, commercial banks, RRBs, regional rural banks, right? And we can say that any other banks. And at present the 65% loans in the agricultural field are provided or available by the institutional sources. And here we will study the institutional sources one by one. Like we will study NABARD, after that RRB, after that land development banks. So we will study these banks one by one. Here you need to understand that 5 markers or 11 markers question can be asked here. 11 marker question can be asked, what are the different institutional sources to provide agricultural credit, right? Or we can say that in 5 marker question, NABARD, the functions of NABARD or functions of land development bank or functions of regional rural banks are regional rural banks can be asked in the examination. So here we will study one by one. At first we will study about the NABARD, right? So here NABARD means National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, right? So here National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development. See, the NABARD was established on 12th July 1982 on the recommendation of Sivaraman Committee, right? And its headquarters is in Mumbai. And the most important thing is that NABARD is the apex body providing finance for agricultural and rural development. You need to remember here that agriculture and rural development. So NABARD is the apex body to provide agricultural loan in the field of rural development, right, and agriculture, right? So it is the apex body to provide agricultural role in the field of agricultural and rural development. Also, you need to mention here, it provides loans, but it is a refinance facilities, right? What is the difference between finance and refinance? देखिए, सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज तो ये है कि ये एक अपेक्स बॉडी है, तो कई बार ये पॉलिसी को भी क्या करती है, रेगुलेट भी करती है. तो वी कैन से दैट इट इज अ रेगुलेटर आल्सो. तो यहाँ पर ये अपेक्स बॉडी होने के नाते यहाँ पर जो फैसिलिटीज है उनको रेगुलेट भी करती है. और दूसरी चीज ये है कि ये डायरेक्टली इट डज नॉट प्रोवाइड लोन टू डायरेक्ट वी कैन से अ फैमिली और अ फार्मर. बाय क्योंकि ये यहाँ पर एक रीफाइनेंस फैसिलिटीज जो है वो उपलब्ध कराती है. अर्थात यहाँ पर नाबार्ड जो है, नाबार्ड लोन देता है यहाँ पर जो नॉन बैंकिंग कंपनीज है, उनको, इसके साथ आरआरबी को, फिर जो कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज है उनको. तो यहाँ पर ये आरआरबी को, स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशन को, इनको यहाँ पर ये लोन देता है. और ये जैसे आरआरबी जाकर फिर ये जो है एग्रीकल्चरल लोन उपलब्ध कराते हैं. यहाँ पर जब कभी भी आरबीआई की बैलेंस शीट में कुछ भी गड़बड़ी होती है, जैसे उदाहरण के तौर पर आरआरबी ने ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में एग्रीकल्चरल की फील्ड में या एग्रीकल्चरल लोन यहाँ पर बांटे, अगर किसान आरआरबी को जो है लोन वापस नहीं दे पाए तो यहाँ पर जो है नाबार्ड जो है वो आरआरबी को क्या करेगा, लोन उपलब्ध कराएगा. ये जो लोन है एक तरीके से उसको फाइनेंशियल एड देगा ताकि आरआरबी अपने फंक्शंस को सुचारू रूप से चला सके. तो हम यहाँ पर आरबीआई की दो महत्वपूर्ण बात हो जाएंगी. एक तो ये एपेक्स बॉडी है और दूसरी ये यहाँ पर रीफाइनेंस फैसिलिटीज उपलब्ध कराती है. किसको कराती है? जो आरआरबीज हैं, फिर कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स हैं जो कि एग्रीकल्चरल लोन उपलब्ध कराती हैं, राइट. और तीसरा हम यहाँ पर ये कह सकते हैं कि जो आरबीआई है, यहाँ पर जो नाबार्ड है, नाबार्ड रिसीव्स फंड्स from the government of India, World Bank and other agencies to meet its credit requirement, right? And it is known for its agricultural and rural development policies, right? Now we will talk about the land development banks. See, land development banks were established to meet the long-term financial needs of the farmers, right? And this banks provides lands to the farmer for the purchase of land, permanent improvement on the land, right? And these banks loans to the farmer on the basis of immovable property only. So here we can easily say that land development bank. So land development banks provide loans in the field of land development or land purchase, right? Now we will study the regional rural bank, right? Regional rural bank. See, In India, there are many commercial, private and public banks which are working efficiently, but these commercial or private banks are having branches in cities, right, metropolitan cities और we can say that town, बट ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में यहाँ पर इन बैंकों की जो थी वो शाखाएं नहीं थी, अर्थात ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में बैंकिंग सुविधाओं की क्या थी, कमी थी। और बैंकिंग क्षेत्र में अब वी कैन से दैट टू प्रोवाइड द बैंकिंग फैसिलिटी इन रूरल एरियाज देयरफॉर RRBs वर एस्टैब्लिश्ड in the year 1975 with the objective of ensuring availability of banking facilities in rural areas, right? Or we can say that RRBs provides the banking facilities where the banking facilities are not available. The RRBs were established based on the recommendation of Narasimhan committees, right? And these banks provides loans for the agriculture, right? So we can say that in short that RRBs provides loans in the field of agriculture, and it provides banking facilities where banking facilities are not available, or we can say that in rural India. The RRBs are working in whole of India, but as far as the Sikkim and Goa is concerned, RRBs are not functioning in Sikkim and Goa, right? Now we will study the cooperative banks. See here जो cooperative banks हैं, cooperative banks also perform the basic work in the field of banking. तो cooperative banks also perform the banking functions, or we can say that basic work in the field of banking. The different thing is that the cooperative banks are established by the Cooperative Societies Act मेड बाय द इंडिविजुअल स्टेट्स। मतलब हो सकता है कि अलग अलग राज्यों में अलग अलग जो है कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी के एक्ट हो, तो कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी एक्ट के माध्यम से ही इन बैंकों की स्थापना की जाती है, राइट। यहाँ पर जो कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स होती हैं ये शॉर्ट टर्म जो रूरल होती हैं, जो शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए यहाँ पर लोन उपलब्ध कराती हैं, राइट। तो द शॉर्ट टर्म रूरल कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स हैव बीन कंस्टिट्यूटेड इन थ्री टायर्स। तो यहाँ पर ये 3 टायर कौन कौन से हैं वो आपको यहाँ पर अच्छे से समझना। तो कुल मिलाकर ये जो ग्रामीण क्षेत्र हैं उनमें शॉर्ट टर्म लोन उपलब्ध कराने के लिए कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स हो जाएंगे, लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए लैंड डेवलपमेंट बैंक हो जाएगी, रीफाइनेंस जो इंस्टीट्यूशन है वो कौन सा हो जाएगा, नाबार्ड हो जाएगा। तो जो 3 टायर है, सबसे पहला क्या हो जाएगा, स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव banks, right? So the state cooperative banks works at the apex level in the states, right? And whose scope is limited within a state. So we can say that state cooperative banks provides banking facility at a state level or within a state, right? Then central cooperative banks, these banks these works in a district level, therefore these called district cooperative banks. And third, primary agricultural credit societies, right? Under this, the requirement of short term credit in the agricultural sector is made at least 10% from a base form of primary agricultural credit societies, right? And we can say that these societies generally give short term loan for productive work, right? So these terms provide, see, the primary agricultural credit societies provide the short term loans for the productive work. See, next we will study CAPART. See, CAPART is working for the improvement of functioning in rural areas, especially for the downtrodden and socially backward sections of the society. तो यहाँ पर जैसे हमने कहा कि ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों एवं एग्रीकल्चर में क्रेडिट साख उपलब्ध कराने के लिए नाबार्ड कार्यरत है, वैसे ही इन रूरल एरियाज में जो डाउन ट्रोडन है और जो सोशली बैकवर्ड सेक्शंस है उनके इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए यहाँ पर जो है कपार्ड कार्य करता है, राइट। एंड द कपार्ड was formed on 1st September 1986. It works under the Ministry of Rural Development and its headquarter is in New Delhi. As I told you that it works to improvement in the field of means to improvement the downtrodden and socially backward sections of the society, and its main objective of CAPARD is to give the priority to the people who live below the poverty line in rural areas, then scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, bounded laborers and handicaps and children and women, राइट। यहाँ पर आपको एक चीज और समझना है, यहाँ पर कपार्ड एक ऐसी संस्था नहीं है जो डायरेक्टली नीतियां बनाती है और उनको डायरेक्ट एजुकेट कराती है, बल्कि जो कपार्ड है वो ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में जो डाउन ट्रोडन है या जो सोशली बैकवर्ड सोसाइटीज़ हैं उनके उत्थान के लिए जो कि सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप हैं, जो NGOs हैं, उनको कई तरीके से क्या करता है, मदद करता है। तो यहाँ पर कपार्ड डज नॉट मेक पॉलिसीज in the place of making policies, it assists many NGOs to improvement of the followings, ठीक है। तो इनके इम्प्रूवमेंट्स के लिए ये NGO को मदद करता है और इसके जो कई अचीवमेंट्स हैं, और हम कह सकते हैं कि द कपार्ड, द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ कपार्ड्स और अचीवमेंट्स ऑफ द कपार्ड्स are, the first thing is that it assists voluntary sector organization in the implementation of sustainable plans in the rural areas. The second objective is that CAPARD acts as the national nodal point for the planning for the development of appropriate rural technology. And the third thing is that it is known for capacity building of voluntary sector organization and support and reward for voluntary organization participating in rural development and rural communities, right. It also acts as data bank for technology and rural development of voluntary sector organizations and process of settlement. Also here CAPARD provides appropriate technology promotion and dissemination of technology. 6 point here, CAPARD provides fair opportunities and economic dependence in rural areas. Also CAPARD make available the means of fulfillment of basic needs in the community. Next, to protect the regenerate natural resources and environment. Next, CAPARD provides to enable the disabled and disadvantaged women and other people to participate in the development program. And here you must also know that the CAPARD receives massive funding from the government of India. Also CAPARD gets massive support from the international donors, right, for the rural development programs and for running voluntary sector organization, right. तो as I earlier told you that जो CAPARD है वो सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप या जो जितने भी NGOs हैं उनकी सहायता से या उनको असिस्ट करता है ताकि जो डाउन ट्रोडन है और सोशली बैकवर्ड हैं उनका इम्प्रूव हो सके, right. So these were our issues and challenges in the field of agricultural marketing and agricultural credit, right. In next lecture we will meet with new topic. Till then, thank you.